Record better audio anywhere with Motive digital microphones from Shure. Easy-to-use options like the MV88 plug directly into your phone or computer and include a free app. Create studio-quality sound for podcasts, music, and videos. Visit Shure.com to learn more.
In spite of our mechanical magnificence.
Up in the sky! Look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's
Todd Vandenberg.
Is that with him under the hat?
Guess who's coming to dinner?
And Rob Steele.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain!
As you can imagine, they don't let us out much.
All my filth is in alphabetical order. This, for example, was under H for toy.
Movie reviews.
So you're here to save the world.
Movie news.
Dad! Tom Cruise won't come out of the closet.
And the occasional rumor or TV news.
I object to all this sex on the television. I mean, I keep falling off.
Oh, that's not right.
God, I love my work.
And to make a long story short, too late. One by one, you all arrived.
It's only been a week, but yes, we're back again for another episode of Cinema Savants. He's Todd Vandenberg. This week, I'm Jeffrey Tambor. Because
nice.
Because he tweeted me back this week. I thought that was very nice of him. Welcome to yet another strange episode of Cinema Savants. Only this week, I think we're going to get more strange than usual because we have 3 Doctor Strange movies to look at.
We do indeed. Please explain the Jeffrey Tambor sequence of events.
The Jeffrey Tambor thing. Earlier this week, and I'm not even sure how this came about, something ran through my head, and I realized that I could make something terribly silly. So I took a picture of Jeffrey Tambor, and I put it in Photoshop, and I gave him Wolverine's claws and changed Jeffrey Tambor to changed him into the tambourine, right? Wolverine's claws, Jeffrey Tambor, put them together, right? Anyway, I tweeted that to Jeffrey Tambor, and he tweeted me back and said, Rob, that made my day. Which actually, that in turn made my week. So, hey.
Yeah, no kidding. How awesome is that?
How cool was that?
Very, very cool. When you told me that, it's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. That is so freaking cool. And
I'm not expecting that at all, because most of the time you talk to celebrities, and if they even acknowledge or read it, they don't talk back.
No, exactly. That's pretty cool. Well, either that or it means he's kind of bored and lonely. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully he is crazy busy, and that popped up, and he just said, "Oh my gosh, I have to respond to this Rob guy because this is fantastic." Which it was. Very, very
he was
cool.
really bored.
And this is a strange show. I do want to mention, though, that I don't think ideas like that, odd ideas, because you have a lot of them, I don't think they run through your head as much as gallop through your head, to crib a line from Arsenic and Old Lace. So, yeah.
I think it tripped over something and fell on some of the thoughts that were running through my head. That's where it came from.
Luckily not on the claws, although the healing factor would take care of it, so there you are.
There you go. If you want to actually see the picture, go to my Twitter account. What is it? @RealRobSteele. It's on there somewhere.
Which, before we get into our stranger talk, and we're not talking Stranger Things, although we could, you have seen the latest trailer of Logan, correct? Since you saw Doctor Strange.
I admit I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention, and I came in a bit late, so I don't remember if it was the new one or an old one that I've seen.
What was the music on the trailer that you saw?
Okay, if it was a music thing, then I missed the Logan trailer. So
you missed the Logan trailer. You definitely missed the Logan trailer that I saw, and of course, different theater chains show different trailers. This is a different trailer, and the music to the trailer is Johnny Cash's cover of "Hurt." Alone.
I retract that. I have seen that.
Oh, you have? Doesn't that give you like some hope for it? I mean, to me, that makes me think, okay, if they're thinking of this for the trailer, hopefully this is an indication of the tone of the film. Might not be at all, but I hope it is.
Am I allowed to prefer the Nine Inch Nails version of the song?
Yeah, of course you are. You're allowed to hate everything if you wish, or prefer whatever.
Well, see, I can actually turn to my right and pick up the head of a Les Paul guitar that once belonged to Trent Reznor.
Oh.
That's my brother-in-law smuggled out of Gibson, which I thought was very cool. So
That's
I'm a bit more
tasty.
of a fan of Nine Inch Nails than I am of Johnny Cash.
Understandable and acceptable, obviously. But just using that song for this trailer says a lot to me about what they are looking at, what they're hoping you'll feel. So I'm hoping that's the vibe that they'll go with. That would make a lot of sense.
That would be nice, I suppose. The thing is, I have absolutely no hope for any non-Marvel created movie at this point.
Well, and this is the first time I've had any hope for any other than Deadpool for any of the non-Marvel studios / Disney, because Marvel is involved with the Fox thing still, but just anyway.
Right.
Hopefully it will
all
pay
the
off.
movies are
Probably
replayed on Fox networks. Who knew?
Yeah, probably it's just going to be some horrible comedy. Like, trailers so often are just so badly misrepresentative of the films. It's a travesty. So hopefully that's not the case in this movie. But this is the first time I'm actually interested in seeing Logan. So we'll see how it turns out. Anyway,
it could be interesting. Who knows? Did you notice at the beginning of Doctor Strange that there is a new Marvel Studios flip the comic book intro?
I liked it. I like it a lot.
First thing I noticed, of course, it's the first thing in the movie. It's hard not to kind of go, ooh.
Yeah, but if you're not paying attention, you don't notice.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like it a lot. They changed it up a little bit with just the comic book graphics, but then they insert the live shots from the live action movies. I like it. They've changed it up. I think it's very cool.
It's a subtle thing, but you know what? It's a nice touch. I'm good with it.
I agree. I think it's very slick.
Okay. I want to ask you this because I'm going to try to do this whole Doctor Strange thing, at least the new version, because we're back to the old ones. And yes, folks, there are old ones. The new one I'm going to try to do without giving away a whole lot of spoilers and stuff, right?
Right.
Because no one has seen it yet. Well, not everyone has seen it yet.
Close to everyone has seen it yet, but we'll talk about box office later.
Yeah. Well, did you think? And this worried me at the beginning of the movie because one of the first things, and this is first scene. I'm not giving anything away here.
Right.
Is we get a Bond villain actually capturing someone and beheading them successfully, which says to me that the movie is immediately not realistic. Because I think we all know by now that Bond villains, once they capture somebody, you can't do anything with them.
But that wasn't the lead. That wasn't the lead. That's the difference. If you're the girlfriend of the lead or the lead, you're going to be tortured, and then eventually you'll get out of it. But if you're just some secondary character, yeah, you're dead meat. That's a great opening sequence. I like it.
Oh, it was a good opening sequence. Actually, even when we actually get to Doctor Strange himself, the first scene where he's doing the surgery thing while doing music trivia.
Right.
I like that. It sets up the character as being as just being a know-it-all about everything.
Exactly.
He's doing brain surgery and answering pub trivia questions.
And it injects some of the levity that Marvel films are noted for. And there's a lot more of it as it goes along, but I mean that's one of those things that sets the tone and helps define the character. It just as you said, I mean it's and besides, I mean the world needs more Flugelhorn, right?
Sure, why not?
Not really, but there are so many good scenes in this movie, and I think it's a really, really good movie too. But a lot of the set pieces work really well, and it ties in really well together. I thought there were a couple.
Music tied in.
Oh yeah.
With I mean, one of the first actual songs we get in this movie, and there's a few, is a Pink Floyd song. Which, when you think trippy music, and you know this is going to be a trippy movie if you've seen the trailer, the first thing you get is a Pink Floyd song, and just because it's toward the end of the credits, I'll save you the trouble and the data fee. The song is called Interstellar Overdrive. It's from the album Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
By the way,
Just
since you
throwing
mentioned that it's a trippy movie, and you know it is from the credits, you have no idea how trippy this movie is just from the credits. I mean, right? I mean, the folding buildings and everything, and it reminds you, of course, of Inception. Although it goes far beyond Inception, but that's just scratching the surface of the weirdness that this film gets to, which it's supposed to. I mean, it's the comic. When the comics came out, I'm a little older than Rob by like 8 centuries. So when Doctor Strange came out,
I was
like,
one.
I am the ancient one. I was like 6 or 7 when these came out.
Love and affection in the world.
I wish I had Tilda Swinton's head in a box. But when they came out, I was like 6 or 7, and they were so weird. If you haven't read Doctor Strange, just do a search on the internet. Just do a search on Steve Ditko panels, and you've got these bizarre splash panels, and it's like, what the heck was this guy taking? I mean, it was a terrific representation because he's trying to show something that's never been seen before, and he accomplished it. And I think they came pretty damn close to doing that in this movie, which, considering just the Marvel films alone of what they've been able to do with depicting weird dimensions and stuff, they knocked it out of the park with this, I think. I thought they were terrific and very true to Ditko's original designs at the same time. Just
there were a couple of glitches that I didn't like, but they were heavily outweighed by things I did.
What's one of the glitches?
I am going to throw out our safety disclaimer that needs to be said, and they should have had this in the trailer, which was, if you go see this movie, do not do it on acid.
No kidding.
Because
you may never
you're
come
going to be
back.
screwed up enough.
That's true.
So, quote, it was about, I don't know, I guess about 40, 45 minutes in, Doctor Strange is talking with the Ancient One, who is played by Tilda Swinton, and the quote was, let's see, Strange says, that doesn't make any sense. And she says, not everything does. Not everything has to. And I thought that summed up the movie really well. Because there's some stuff that you're going to watch it and go, huh? What? No, wait, but, oh, never mind. We're on to something else now. That's the way the movie goes. And, but it's a good roller coaster trip on acid.
It is, and I think the characterizations were really good. I mean, there are a couple lines, and there's a discussion between Strange and Palmer, who was a doctor in the movie, but she was a nurse in the comics, a one-time romantic interest for Strange, and they're having a discussion, and you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give it away, but I mean that could have been pulled from an Oscar promoted drama, because that was tough. That was a tough scene to watch to me. And that was very, very real. And it gave a lot more dimension to the character, to both characters, really. And it's like, that's really cool. And that's another of the things that Marvel, I think, does so well, is despite all of the wild special effects and the plots and everything, to me, these are still character-driven films. Because you care about the characters, because they do enough work to build them into real people. And I read a review of Doctor Strange and said, yeah, it's a good movie, but you've seen this same good movie by Marvel before, and it was Iron Man. And I absolutely disagree. I mean, they're both arrogant and they're both flawed, but they're in very different ways. Very different ways.
Absolutely. Those were two characters I thought in the books that kept getting crossed, because when I collected both books, albeit it was very brief, but I collected both of those, Iron Man kept fighting magical people, and Doctor Strange kept fighting tick people. And I thought, okay, you need to get together and, tag. You go take the tick guy. That was the comics. And this actually, there are similarities to Iron Man, but there's so many differences that it's okay.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I'm sorry. He plays a surgeon, a renowned neurosurgeon, and how are you not going to make him arrogant? I'm not saying all neurosurgeons are arrogant, but it does kind of fit that typecast, that archetype. And we'll get to the first Doctor Strange movie where they changed that up, and it was okay, but to me it works much better the way it was done in the film, the way it was done in the comics. So, and we'll get to that.
I do want to ask you this.
Ask me this.
Because Benedict Cumberbatch,
That's a fun name to say.
Didn't use his real accent. And there were times when I was listening to it going, he sounds like Tom Selleck. Now he sounds like Dennis Quaid. And I was wondering, do you really think, because I think this would have worked if he had used his actual accent. I don't think that would have bothered me that much.
No, it wouldn't have bothered me a bit.
As soon as I hear him using the other voice, I start thinking, did they miscast this in kind of the way that, like they used a few years ago, Johnny Depp played Mike Myers playing Willy Wonka. In this, it was kind of like Benedict Cumberbatch playing Tom Selleck playing Doctor Strange. And I was like, don't do that.
I was so afraid you were going to refer back to Robin Hood and that lovely American accent. That's the travesty of accents of all time. And now it wouldn't have bothered me a bit if he had just used his own natural accent, because he could just, Stephen Strange is an American, whatever. It's like, it wouldn't matter a bit if they decided to say, well, he grew up in Great Britain and he moved over here, for his residency. Well, wouldn't have made any difference at all. So, but it didn't bother me either. I mean, wasn't bothered by his Americanisms at all. So it worked. It was fine for me.
It didn't really bother. Well, it bothered me a little bit. Kind of one of those things, niggling in the back of your head. You're like, ooh,
it nagged at you. It nagged at you. But no, it didn't bother me. But flipping the other way, I would have been perfectly fine if he had a British accent. Who cares? That has nothing to do with the character. So he could be He could be from anywhere.
It could have been fine. Did want to ask, because Doctor Strange is one of the, if you take the main characters from Marvel Comics, your Fantastic Four, your Avengers, your X-Men, Doctor Strange is probably, I think the only character I know less about than Doctor Strange would be like Black Panther. And that's only because he wasn't around when I collected the Avengers. Did you catch a lot of Easter eggs in this? Because I think the only thing I actually caught, apart from the blatant references, hey, the Avengers are over there, or hey, look, it's Stan Lee on a bus, was Mordo had the staff of the Living Tribunal.
Right.
Which kind of gave me hope that character would show up eventually, because I was always fascinated by the concept of that character.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that's
like actually caught, I think.
I have a feeling that's going to be like in Phase 4 or something. That's going to be out there a while. But I caught a few here and there. But I'll just wait for the Blu-ray or to buy the digital thing, and then I can stop it and pause it and be like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at that. So, it's a Marvel flick, so there are tons of Easter eggs. There always are. I like the references that they threw in when he's too busy to do surgery because it wasn't an interesting case or a case that's going to be written up in the journals, that he passed on what sounded like a description of War Machine. And he passed up on another case which sounded... Oh, yeah. That's when he's going to the elevator, and they describe it was a guy in an enhanced armor suit or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yes, that was, wasn't it?
And it might not have been War Machine, but apparently the director said, no, it's actually not War Machine. It's like, well, okay, but still. And right after that, in the same scene, then they mentioned another patient who was, I think they said struck by lightning, and she's enhanced. She has something planted in her head, and then there's like, I'm thinking, who's that? And I thought about it, and exactly. And it's like, okay, pretty sweet. So they're throwing out little, like they do in all the Marvel things, they interconnect things constantly.
Foreshadowing breadcrumbs.
Right, by just little sequences. And of course, in the mid-credit sequence, there's a large tag there, which is great, large in lots of senses. And it's just, the way they do things is just so cool. And at the very end sequence, there's a very obvious take on, okay, well, this is where this franchise is headed. Right. And again, no spoilers, but as Marvel films do, they tie the knots a little tighter with every film. It's fun, and the web gets bigger every time. Very, very cool.
I'm sorry, the whole breadcrumbs thing. Here's another thing running through my head. But
breadcrumbs?
Hansel, look, is breadcrumbs. But Gretel, we haven't gone anywhere yet. So, yeah, that's one of those things. And the special effects, even when there is I don't know if this is really a spoiler, there's a bit of time travel involved in the movie. And the one thing I was really glad about was they didn't play shares if I could turn back time while they were doing it. Thank God for that.
If it had been a...
Oh, don't do that.
If it had been Guardians of the Galaxy, they would have, though. They would have if it had been Guardians of the Galaxy.
That would have been different, and I would have almost said, okay, fine. But
and I'm glad you mentioned that aspect of it, because the way they use it, I think, is absolutely terrific. I mean, it turns comic book movie convention on its head. I thought that was so smart the way they did that.
Which was like the action sequence.
And here's a spoiler. Doctor Strange is not killed at the end of the film. Okay, so obviously he wins in his final battle. I really I really enjoy the way he wins his battle. Again, very
well
different.
Done.
Very different from what you would normally see in a comic book film, and absolutely works for this character probably more than any other character. It was just great. It was absolutely great. Really, really fun movie. So well done.
Now, one thing, I'm not sure this is a spoiler either, and it's not something I don't think I would have known if I didn't read this beforehand. Do you know who played Dormammu? Who did the voice and everything?
No, I didn't. I didn't pay attention to that. I'm a bad
Benedict
person.
Cumberbatch.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Played
Very
both
interesting.
It's not something you're probably gonna. It's not something you can obviously look at the character and go, "Oh, that's Benedict doing something else too." No, you're not going to get it that way.
No, you wouldn't.
And the voice is distorted enough. You're not going to get that either.
Very interesting.
Saw that this week and said, "Ooh, that's pretty cool."
Very cool for.
It's not a spoiler.
Again,
just a thing.
Possible foreshadowing. You never know. Nice.
Let's see. I think the only other things I had for Doctor Strange, actually, this one thing was in regards to the chase scenes where the buildings are folding and everything's turning inside out and stuff. What they needed to have at some point was just scroll this across the bottom of the screen. This action sequence is brought to you by the makers of Dramamine. If you have trouble watching disorienting sequences, remember AstraZeneca may be able to help. I think it would have worked. Have that AstraZeneca sounds like something that needs to be in Doctor Strange anyway.
It does. It does. It sounds like something that.
I have been reading.
The cloak would power with.
A lot of complaints about the movie, though.
Really?
Because there's magic in it, and that goes against fill in the blanks Christian beliefs.
Oh my gosh. Well, then stay home.
So here's what I'm going to say to clear this up. Ladies and gentlemen, Doctor Strange is a movie about magic. Magic is involved. There will be magic all through it. And if that distorts your Christian beliefs, don't go see it. Period.
Pretty simple.
And now, we now return to our regularly scheduled program.
It's funny how, I'm sorry, I just have to add to that. It's funny how if it impinges on their beliefs, they want to impinge on everyone else's rights.
Exactly.
Anyway, shall we talk about the 2007 version of Doctor Strange?
I have to admit, I forgot to watch it again. It's in the living room. And I'm pretty sure, though, that people aren't going to want, that's okay, Rob. We'll pause the show while you go watch it again. No, I'm not going to do that. As I recall the movie, though, it's very similar to what we just saw in the live-action version.
I did watch it again, and it is quite similar. It's not like they took notes from the 2007 version and did this. But Mordo, again, starts out as one of the lead students of the Ancient One, and there is a threat. And
the Green Lantern parallel to Sinestro, I think.
Yes, quite so.
Sinestro started out as a good guy, and I'm going with the comic books, not the movie. Started out as a good guy and then turned into a bad guy with the yellow ring. Kind of a similar thing with Mordo. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that a spoiler? Could you not see it coming?
No, you're talking about the comic books. It's not a spoiler.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, the 2007 animated version, it's out there. I think it's on Amazon and PlayStation. No, it's not on Netflix, unfortunately.
Really?
No, It's not, because I checked. Might be on Hulu, but that's one thing I did not check. But it's readily available. It's certainly worth a $3 rental, because that's actually what I paid for it. Tax deduction. And it's very fun. It's not, to me, it doesn't hold up with this, but it's an animated flick. And sometimes animated flicks can be better, absolutely. But it's definitely worth watching. It's good. It's fun.
Right. It's fun. It was a rather well done movie. That one, and they did an Iron Man movie about the same time, and they were both, I think, were rather well done.
Yeah.
I think the only other Marvel movie they did about that time was the Hulk versus, where they had a Hulk versus Wolverine, and Hulk versus Thor in a DVD
Hulk
2-pack.
versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine. And those are
the
good.
Thor one I didn't care for. The Wolverine one was good.
The Wolverine segment was quite a bit better, I think. I agree. I like the one with Thor, but the Wolverine sequence was better. Wolverine actually acted like Wolverine, unlike in any of the films. And I like the characterization, but it's not the same as he is in the comics.
No, not quite.
He's
close.
Well, not. Sometimes not. Yeah, close-ish would be better. They just didn't want to make him as brutal as he is in the comics, and brutish at the same time, which he should have been. But then again, you don't want a guy who's
short, so it's okay.
I was going to say, Hugh, he's 6'2", is he, or 6'3"? I mean, it's like.
Yeah, Hugh is 6'4", and if you look in the Marvel Comics Encyclopedia, of which I have like 6 versions because I'm a nerd, Wolverine is listed at 5'3".
Yeah, a little shorter. And yeah, obviously in some ways it doesn't matter, but that is kind of the defining characters of him that he's. Anyway, we're not talking about Wolverine. Yeah, exactly. Can I call Jackman Runt? Let's move on to Doctor Strange, 1978.
Ye olde
which
strange.
is a long time ago. And as you said,
if you look at it, you're gonna look at the movie poster and go, "This looks like 1970s porn," and you're probably not that far off.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's the mustache.
It's the mustache, and he doesn't have the goatee at all, which is kind of odd that they chose to make a Doctor Strange film and didn't give him the right facial hair. What's really odd is that Stan Lee was very heavily involved in the production of it and liked it a lot. Maybe Stan was doing drugs or something. Yeah, I agree. For 1978 for television, it's actually pretty good. There are some big flaws to me. For one, he's not a surgeon; he's a psychiatrist, which you kind of miss. Part of the whole sequence, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil it because I doubt many people are going to watch it. But his hands do not get injured in this. No. That's the driving force for Doctor Strange in the comics since 1963, and in the film.
I don't think they could have done that back. Have someone get that mangled on TV in 1978.
And that's true. I mean, that's probably why they shied away from it. The special effects are really, really bad, but it's 1978 television. They weren't going to spend a ton of money on it.
Turned into a yellow special effect.
Let me retract that. They chose not to spend a lot of money on the special effects because this is long after Star Trek, which had much better special effects than this thing did. So
that is
they
true.
could have had better special effects. They just chose not to. But, and it wasn't picked up. I had read one of the reasons probably it wasn't picked up. Didn't have very good ratings. One of the reasons the ratings weren't so great, it aired opposite Roots, which if you aren't unaware of the cultural phenomenon that was Roots in 1978, just Google it. And you'll see why anything that was on opposite Roots probably did not do well. So, like you said, for 1978, it's actually not bad. It's worth a look. You can actually find it on YouTube. That's how much they care. Yeah, that's how much Universal cares about the rights to this thing. It's on YouTube, and they haven't blocked it. The performance.
I think it's on YouTube from several different sources.
Right.
So I have a feeling it's going to be there even after Universal listens to this show and goes, "It is. We'll have to get rid of it." Oh wait, we'll have to get it there and there and there and there
and there.
You'll have time.
It's worth watching as a curiosity. It's not like, oh, you have to see this right away. It's wonderful, but it's worth.
I just like that Clea was in it.
Yeah.
That's one of the few characters I knew from the Doctor Strange series was. Is she a girlfriend? 'Cause like I said, I don't know Doctor Strange as well as most everybody else. But just having it's Clea. Really? Oh, okay. Who knew?
Well, because I think because apparently Dan was really quite involved in it, which I'm surprised that it wasn't a little closer to Doctor Strange. But it had the main characters and basically follows the same kind of thing. Although he's battling Morgan Le Fay for some reason instead of Dormammu or any of the other main characters that he's normally fighting. And as you had mentioned, the magical sequences start halfway through the movie.
If that.
Wow. Yeah.
You're watching it going, I thought this was about magic and everything, and I'm 45 minutes in, and no one's even pulled a rabbit out of a hat. What the hell?
It does take a while for the magic to start. And in the bigger sense, the magic really never starts with that movie. But, like I said, it's a curiosity, and it's not bad.
The fight sequence, about time it's over.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, that was kind of quick. It's a curiosity.
With the porn stash.
Bert Hooten
has. I'm sorry, Peter Hooten.
Peter Hooten.
It would have been a much different movie if Bert Hooten was.
I would have liked it more.
For those of you who don't know, Bert Hooten was a pitcher with Los Angeles at the time, and I've actually looked it up. No relation to Peter.
That makes me sad.
I was trying to figure out how he got the role. I figured that was it, and I'm wrong. Who Canoe?
Yeah, indeed. Who Canoe? Not Canoe. So that is Doctor Strange. I will throw in a little bit about how it's doing at the box office. It's doing okay. They're probably all right with it. Just under 85 million this weekend. Wow, that's kind of a large debut. Throw in
I did hear that is the number 3 origin movie for Marvel origin movies. Like Iron Man 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy, the only first-time Marvel movies to beat it. Beat Doctor Strange.
Not bad to beat Captain America and Thor. And overseas, it did a mere 240 million. Now that is for a week plus this weekend because it had opened overseas the week before, although not China significantly. So worldwide, in basically a week and a half, it's made $325 million. So Marvel/Disney is going to be really happy again.
Disney?
Good God. I mean, what a factory for money. They're doing better than the Mint.
Disney, which still does Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars. Do they need anything else?
No, not really. just it's kind of crazy.
That's enough.
Yeah. I mean, they've got Zootopia, The Jungle Book, Finding Dory. All of those this year alone. Captain America: Civil War. Let's throw that in. They'll have a little bit of. And they had the bulk of The Force Awakens. This year they'll have a little bit of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Good God, it's crazy how much money they're making, and they're all
The Jungle Book.
I hit The Jungle Book, right. I have not seen Finding Dory, but all of the films that I mentioned, I have seen all of them. The only one that I wasn't just like, wow, this is great, was The Jungle Book. And I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was like, wow, terrific. But they're up and down the line. I mean, these are really, really good movies. On top of which, they're making a lot of money for the investors, which is important. To some extent, it's important that they make money because if you enjoy them, you want them to make money because then they'll make more of them. If nobody goes to see them and you like them, well, you're screwed because you're not going to see the sequel because there won't be one. So that's why we do talk about box office. That's why I talk about box office.
Number 2 this week was number 1, 2, and 3 were all new movies this week, which is kind of rare, I think, isn't it?
It was a huge week at the box office. Yeah, I mean, this compared to last weekend, which was basically just a bunch of holdovers. Box office was up 133%, not 33%, 133% over the previous week.
Wow,
that's a big bump. Trolls did 45 million, which is pretty good when you're going up against something like Doctor Strange, which made a lot of money. Hacksaw Ridge, which I'm really interested in seeing. Just under 15.
That is supposed to be a spectacular movie.
Right. Mel Gibson directed, basically based on the true story of an Army medic who saved 70-odd lives. And, well, he's a medic. That's his job, obviously. But that's a lot of lives to
carry
save.
Gun, so he's Batman.
Yeah.
Bat-medic.
Yeah, basically. Bat-medic. Medea's Halloween flick stayed pretty strong at fourth, almost $65 million for a movie that the budget was 20. So I mean that's a money factory. Don't really care for any of the Medea movies.
Making another 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, why wouldn't they? They all make money. I don't care for them, but they don't make every movie for me. It's a good thing because otherwise we'd be watching a lot of weird movies. Inferno continues to tank. It kind of makes me happy because I'm really tired of the storyline. So. Wow, 26 million total gross in 2 weeks, and it cost 75. That's not really good.
No.
And The Accountant came in 6th, and after that, I don't really care. But a huge, huge week for the box office, and this weekend coming up is The Arrival, which has really, really good buzz, and the trailer looks really interesting. So hopefully.
And I know aliens come, and we have to talk to them. And that's the extent of what I know. And I've seen how many trailers and read interviews. And I saw an interview with 2 of the stars, Hawkeye, whose name has escaped me entirely, and the female lead, whose name has also escaped me entirely.
Hawkeye and Lois Lane together again.
I still don't know jack about the movie.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's intentional.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to give much away, which I like. It looks very impressive. It sounds impressive. I like the storyline. I like the fact that from at least what they're saying, what they are letting people know, that it's not the typical let's go meet the aliens, because apparently we don't blow them up immediately and they don't try to blow us up immediately. And that's about all I know about it. And that's good enough for me. So
yeah,
very, very, very much looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have an alien contact film, which is not an alien invasion film, because oh my God, there's enough of those.
So you think this is like a remake of Close Encounters?
Or it could be a remake of Contact. That's not a remake of anything. But yeah, I mean it's nice to have something that's a different spin. Which reminds, there was a sequence of films. This is probably 7 or 8 years ago now, and I'll look it up just to see when it was. But when the and it's not as old as Contact, the Adjustment Bureau, when that came out.
Vaguely remember the name.
And
I'm trying to remember.
Matt Damon, Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And
came out 2011.
There you go. So 5 years ago. And the same year, also saw Source Code and Limitless.
Yeah.
And I thought, boy, those are three really, really good. Let's not say science fiction. Let's say speculative fiction, because the Adjustment Bureau is not quite really science fiction once you get into it. And they all came out in 1 year. That is just amazing. It's sad that it doesn't happen more often. Hopefully, Arrival fits into that type of category. Thoughtful films of that genre, because usually it's just, let's see how much shit we can blow up. There was a lot going on in all of those movies. I really liked them. Like The Martian. The Martian, I thought, was terrific. It's very different from these films. It's more of a straight science thriller. It's not a science fiction thriller, really. And I thought it was as good as the book. And that book is terrific. It's a very realistic look at, okay, we're only going to go maybe 10 years in the future, or really now, if we would just prioritize. I'm not saying we should, but if we prioritize spending different ways, we could have an expedition going to Mars now. It's just we've chosen not to do that. There's nothing insane really going on in this film. It's just such a cool look at what it takes to overcome the odds, basically. And Matt Damon is terrific in it, and he's such a wise ass, and he's actually not quite as much of a wise ass as the character is in the book. So really, really good movie. And again, it's nice to see science fiction with serious things going on. So I'm looking forward to Arrival very, very much.
It's one of those that looks just weird enough that I'm really interested in seeing it.
Oh yeah, it does. It's a very different take.
I don't really know what's going on in the trailer, but I want to see it anyway.
And
I don't know why, but I'm compelled.
And it's got Hawkeye and Lois Lane, and how can you pass up on that?
Thank you. Because I was looking at her the whole
sweet.
time going, I know her from something else. What else do I know her from? Oh, yeah, she's the dip that threw the kryptonite down the hole when they needed it.
Hopefully she's not that much of an idiot in this film. I think they probably have a better screenwriter in this one. I won't make the same mistake. Although it would be really funny if she had a big chunk of kryptonite and killed somebody with it in this. It's like, wow, no one saw that coming. I don't think anybody would see that coming.
Actually, speaking of DC movies that are coming out, I did want to point out that there is a new ad for the Suicide Squad to be released on HD, and it says, download the HD video now. And you can't. It's not coming out until the 15th.
Maybe that's a deliberate mean trick.
Well, apparently it's okay to download it because they're the bad guys. I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I saw that and went, oh, it's available now, and I looked for it, and it is not. Gee, thanks, mate. Kind of, there's an advertising guy somewhere going, ha-ha, made you look.
Well, probably what it is Amanda Waller probably set it up, and everyone who tries to download it, you're being watched.
Oh, is that what I'm going to disconnect my camera right now?
Too late. Just put masking tape over it.
There's an idea. Do you think that... are you familiar with Amanda Waller in the comics?
A little.
And the Justice League series?
Much more from the Justice League series, but yeah.
Okay, where Amanda Waller is called the Wall because she's huge.
Right.
Very, very large, intimidating woman. And I don't think we've actually seen her on screen correctly. I mean, the first time we see her, she's played by Angela Bassett. Holy cow, that's wrong.
That's not quite right. You're right.
No, not in the slightest. Then there's the version of her on Arrow, and I don't know who played her, but she was a bit scrawny to be playing Amanda Waller. And the only person I've ever seen, and I really don't mean to.
I know what
I'm
you're
making it sound horrible. I'm not meaning to insult this actress at all because I've seen her in a few things, and she's kind of. I like her, except on the only place that I can think of her in at the moment, which is Bones, which is a TV show that, frankly, I can't stand because every character on it irritates the crap out of me.
Yeah, I don't watch Bones.
But
I know what you mean, but I don't watch it.
She plays the lawyer woman who shows up occasionally. She, I don't know what her name is. Kind of, she looks like Amanda Waller did in the books. Cast her. She's an actress. She looks the way it was drawn. Or let's flip it, Medea. Have Medea
right.
as Amanda Waller. That's the size we're looking for, people.
Yeah, Tyler, shorter maybe, but Tyler Perry actually probably would need to gain weight to play Amanda Waller. Seriously, because he's not really. Well, he's big enough to wear the bigger suits, so I guess that would work, right?
Do padding, we'll be fine.
Right. Certainly, he would be more capable of wearing padding than some of the actresses you mentioned earlier. So Angela Bassett, there's no amount of padding she could wear to make it look realistic. So
she's still going to look pretty. Sorry. Amanda Waller isn't it. I'm feeling bad for the actors on Bones now. I'm sorry. But I saw her once and I went, that's Amanda Waller. I am. But she's Amanda Waller. It's not my fault.
You're just identifying someone who would fit in perfectly well as a character that you love and care for very much.
Right.
I don't know if you care for her very much, but I mean, she's a very cool character.
She is. I mean, enough to. She'll face down Batman.
Right.
She's one of those characters, and there's not many people that do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the Justice League who are not comfortable doing that. So that does say a lot. I would say.
So, I'm trying to look her up through Bones, and there's too many people, and I don't know any of them.
Yeah, I was just doing the same thing, and I'm getting the same problem.
Oh, well.
I'm waiting for my page to load.
There she is, Patricia Belcher.
Oh, there we go. Now we know. Patricia Belcher. Thank you.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It would be horrible if I'm not. But
maybe, considering why you want her to be cast in this film, maybe it's just as well. Maybe she doesn't want her name.
I'll call her Belker.
There you go. Belker.
She's going to call the show next week, and she's going to yell at me.
Probably will. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure.
The tambourine could call in and praise you for your creativity, and then Belker could call in and just ravage you for your lack of compassion.
Tact? There was no tact involved in that.
Nah. You're trying to get her a gig.
Yeah, there we go. One other thing, I think we talked about this before the show, and then we missed it.
We missed it.
We drove in the car, drove past it. That list of comic book movies that are the most acclaimed.
Yes, we missed it.
Because we were going to talk about that, and then all of a sudden, we're off somewhere else. But now we're back onto comic books, so I can bring this up again because Suicide Squad's on this list somewhere.
We have plenty of time to talk about this list. It's a very interesting list. It's on darkhorizons.com.
Which is actually a wonderful movie news site. I've been following it for years. But they had, where did they pull this list from? Because I've forgotten. Anyway,
I believe you said it's a compilation of Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, which that's
their scores.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable way to do it. As good as any other way, obviously.
And the top-rated comic book movie of all time ends up being The Dark Knight, which I can't entirely argue with.
Right. I can't either.
But from there, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, we were talking about this because it does specifically say comic book films, and we discussed the fact that a few of the next 4 films on the list, people don't really think of as comic book films. I mean, they are. They're all based on graphic novels, which are
kind of like comic books, but different.
They're very different from the typical comic book publication. So the next film up is Rob. Well, it's not Rob. That would be really cool. Persepolis.
Yeah, it was me. It was me starring as Jeffrey Tambor in The Tambourine. No, it was Persepolis, which is, I haven't even heard of the movie. You said you'd heard of it, but
yeah, I've not seen it. From what I understand, well, obviously it's critics think it's really good because it's the second highest rated comic book film from those sources, and it's a graphic novel. It's from an Iranian family and just dealing with life in general, which again, yes, it's based on a graphic novel, but it doesn't really fit what we typically think of as comic books. Third
Batman
film is
not included.
Yeah, Blue is the Warmest Color is the third film, which again, based on a graphic novel, but it's not what we normally think of as a comic book film. I mean, these are much more real life films. It just happens the source material is a graphic novel instead of a standard novel.
A novel.
A novel. American Splendor is fourth, followed by Ghost World. Again, here we are again with graphic novels, which people typically don't think of as comic book. I mean, when I think of a comic book film, I'm thinking of superheroes, which, comic books are far beyond superheroes. I get that. But that's why they came up with the distinction of the term graphic novel. So people would take those works more seriously instead of just calling, they're just comic books. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this list. But it's not a list of what most people would think of as, comic book movies. So, but it's not exactly hard to just say, okay, well, where's the one that I think of as a comic book? Well, the next one up is The Dark Knight Rises. So,
which I
go from
cannot
The Dark
see as
Knight,
being that high, but
I don't either. I mean, I'm surprised that it scored that well. It doesn't score that well for me. I liked it, but there are plenty of movies below this ranking. And again, this is not their personal ranking. They just took Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and Metacritic, which are just compilations of critics' reviews, and this is what they came up with. So there you are. After The Dark Knight Rises is...
I scrolled down. Sorry, Guardians of the Galaxy,
which is
followed by an anime movie called The Wind Rises, which I'm not familiar with. But then we have the original Superman movie, Spider-Man 2, another anime that I've heard of called Nausicaa, which is very good. An anime I haven't heard of, Porco Rosso,
another Studio Ghibli film. The Wind Rises is a really good movie.
It looks like something I've seen the trailer for at some point, and this just brings up to me how many movies that I haven't seen. Because I'm looking at this list, going, seen it. Say, ooh, don't know this one. Where did this one come from? What is this? Seen that one. Just an odd. A History of Violence was the next one on the list, and that kind of it occurred to me that has to be another graphic novel thing,
right?
Unless they're just going, it stars Aragorn, so it must be a comic book movie. No.
And I really, really like A History of Violence, but talk about that. Now, that's not what you normally think of as a comic book, but man, there's some brutal stuff in that story. And yes, it is a graphic novel. So,
well, I mean, if you get down the list a bit, and I'm going to jump here. If you go down to like Akira, which is, again, a graphic novel turned into an anime movie. Actually, Akira and the next one, the original Ghost in the Shell movie. Both of those, just because they're animated and based on comic books or manga in this case, very graphic in places.
Oh, well, yeah.
Both of them. Yeah, definitely. And Akira will have the end scene of Akira still gives me nightmares.
I'm really surprised that Akira is this far down.
But no, when you get way down on the list, because we talked about this before too, the original 1993 Fantastic Four movie that was never actually released is on this list. at a whopping 42.5%, but it beat out movies such as The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Spawn, Elektra, let's see, The Spirit, the Ghost Rider movies, I think both of them, and Howard the Duck, Barbed Wire, Supergirl, and this is the one that amused the crap out of me, the 2015 Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, that's
beat that out
bad.
by a lot. Yes.
Now, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen I thought was bad, just bad. I mean, there's some cool parts to it, but that was such a missed opportunity. Spawn I thought was actually a fairly decent movie. Not great, but I
for its time, it was good. I think now if they remake it, and they're talking about remaking another Spawn movie, it would be good.
Now, The Spirit,
it was that bad.
The Spirit literally to me is unwatchable because I have tried 3 times to watch The Spirit. I have never been able to get through it. That is how
I get about 10 minutes in and go, oh, I'm done.
Right?
Click.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You know what, Rob? It gets worse.
No.
Yeah. So how? I mean, I'm sorry. Supergirl was a dippy movie. Supergirl is a much better movie than The Spirit. The new Fantastic Four that they did. It's not the Fantastic Four, but as you mentioned weeks ago, it's not really a bad movie. It's just not the Fantastic Four. It's not great,
exactly.
But seriously, please, all these critics who watch these, please watch again. Watch Fantastic Four, the latest iteration, and watch The Spirit again, and tell me which one is better. I mean, come on. I mean, ugh. That's just ridiculous. Now, the worst film that made the list, I mean, according to this, obviously, I'm sure there are other things that didn't make it because maybe they had nothing. Son of the Mask. I can agree with that. That belongs there.
Yes.
Yes,
it does. And it's actually, I mean, if you look at the percentages they have here, the last 5 movies go from 30.5. 30.5 for Captain America, 30 for Catwoman, 28.5 for Steel, 25 for Crow, Wicked Prayer, and then 22 2/3 for The Mask.
And Captain America, by the way, that's the TV movie that was done like in the late 70s or 80s. For those who are thinking Captain America, how could it be that low? It's not that Captain America. So relax.
Sorry.
No.
It's oldie Captain America. Isn't the shield partially transparent?
I'm sorry, what?
Wasn't the shield partially transparent in that one?
I don't remember, but I do know that he had a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah.
When that was his mask thing. I mean, it was like, oh, God, it was awful.
No one will ever tell I'm Steve Rogers under this Honda helmet. I got it at the Honda dealer. It was on sale. It was in blue. It matched my costume, which looks like it was painted on me. No. Sorry, didn't need that.
It's one movie, and because we're skipping through it because we're not going to read through 200 movies.
There's
the
a
one
lot
that
of
I was. I was happy to see Batman: Mask of the Phantasm is on there at 72.5.
That again?
Batman.
Okay.
Mask of the Phantasm.
That was one of the animated ones. Yes.
Right, and that's a really good movie. Really good. Again, it's one of the
Batman animated series section.
Right. I mean, it's as we said before. If Warner's would just look at their animated division and just steal the plot and just do it live action, it's like you've got a great movie. I don't understand how they can't figure that out. Which reminds me, there was an odd little blurb that popped up this week that supposedly Bret Easton Ellis was, of course, writer of American Psycho. Since we're talking about, well, we're not talking about that. Anyway, he happened to run into some Warner Brothers executives, and they were talking to executives, blah, blah, blah. He talked to some movie executives, I should say. Anyway, the word came from some Warner's executives that they were really concerned about, some of them were really concerned about the script for the Batfleck Batman movie, which will be called apparently The Batman, and that the the higher ups' response was, we don't care about because these films have to work in so many markets now, as we've talked about. They didn't really care about if the plot's good or not. They just wanted to make money, so they weren't really concerned about the script. And my thought was, who exactly thinks the script is bad? Because the only people who should have access to the script are Warner's executives, right? The same
Right.
Warner's executives who thought Man of Steel and Batman v Superman had good scripts. So if they think this one is bad, it's probably Chinatown. So I would not be worried a bit about this. And if the execs at Warner's think it's a bad script, as long as they don't care, I'm happy. Like, I've never seen anything more stupid in my life.
This just came out. He issued Brett Ellis issued an apology.
Right.
Because this has gotten blown out of proportion. He said he was having dinner with two executives, and they were relating the problems they had heard about the script from working with people who were working on the project. And somehow this got translated into, he thinks there's issues with the movie. And he's come out and said, no, I heard like eighth hand. I am an octopus. You know, that there's not.
Yeah, I had never read that. He said he thought there were issues. It was just he was relating that these third parties, because it wasn't even the people he spoke with said they had the issues. But like I said, who would have access to the script other than people at Warner's? And if they think there are issues, they don't know what a fucking good script looks like, obviously. So who cares what they think? There's no worries about this film. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, my neck hurt as soon as you said that. Jeez.
Sorry.
Thanks, Rob. Anyway, I think,
meanwhile,
perhaps, you have anything else?
Well, let's see. Because the Trolls movie has made so much money, and that was a big toy in the 80s, they've decided to do a movie about a big toy in the 90s. They're making a Furby movie.
Yeah,
hopefully that's the last time I'll ever have to mention it. And delete that from my notes.
Delete that from your memory, too.
I'm not sure I can do that yet because I know we're going to see a trailer sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be so cute. Ugh.
Brace yourself.
God. Although, they can make movies about anything. I mean, seriously.
Well, they made the Lego movie, and I know we haven't mentioned this on the show yet, but hot on the heels of the Lego movie, they decided to make the Play-Doh movie. And
the Lego movie is
I don't know how the hell that's going to work.
I don't know either. But the Lego movie was cute. I was surprised. I thought it was fun.
It was cute the first couple hundred times I've seen it, but my kids got a hold of it. And
I understand that. I understand how that goes. I'm so sorry for you, sir. But, yeah. Hey, even Casablanca gets old after 200 viewings. Well, it doesn't, but
something like that. Yes,
possibly. The Furby movie. That's just. I can see where it would kind of work if they go like meta on it, and you try to leave the theater and they won't let you, and the thing restarts and then stops and restarts. I mean, that would work. That would be just like the damn toys. Oh God, those things got annoying after. Well, depending on your mileage, 1 hour or one week, somewhere in that ballpark.
No, I'll throw this story out and looking at our clock. Ooh, last story from me. When we moved to Germany a few years ago, 15 years ago. God, I'm old. Okay, so my daughter had gotten a Furby, and we packed it in a box. And when we moved to Germany, we never actually took it out of the box.
Oh no!
And then we moved back to the States like 5.5, 6 years later, and we're unpacking boxes, and I find the box with the Furby, and I pick it up, and I'm like, I remember this thing. And then it opened its eyes and started talking to me. Like, okay, that's wrong. I'm getting rid of this. Because how the hell do the batteries last? Because I can't get batteries to last on anything, but in the Furby, oh no. 6 years later, I'm sure it was talking in the box the whole time, going, no, guys, we'll get out of here someday.
I think they make their own batteries. There needs to be a Black Mirror episode on Furbies. That would be beautiful. which is a great show. If our listeners have not seen Black Mirror, which is on Netflix, all 3 seasons now, watch Black Mirror. It's really, really good. Other shows coming up on the network. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have Fist Fight Fan Club with Jed Meshew. Tuesdays normally is Cover 32 Seahawks show, but they are moving to Thursday night this week only, so that we can have a Nikki X Happy Hour Election Day special at 7:30 p.m. And Rob, you are obviously, if you didn't get the invitation yet, you are invited to partake in the Nikki X Happy Hour Election Day
I haven't actually, but I think that's only because I cut off Lee's mic yesterday.
Anyway.
I'm actually kind of, at any moment, I'm expecting Lee to pop up and cut my mic off. So, yeah.
11.
Sorry, Lee.
7:30 Eastern Time, Tuesday night, and that is not Daylight Savings Time because we're not on Daylight Savings. Wednesday is Late Night Parents with Ted Hicks. Thursday, again, Cover 32 Seahawks show will be on Thursday, along with NBA Full Court Press with Danny Thompson, I hope. Friday, Earnestly Speaking with EJ Christian. Saturday, of course, is the baseball show with Lee and Ted and myself. Many podcasts. Rob, you have a couple to mention at least.
Wednesday, we've got 2 pages of mystery, which comes out at midnight, so you can start your mystery in your sleep, because it's midnight. You're supposed to be sleeping. And if you want to actually get your stories published, if you have a short mystery story, send them to me. I'll publish them and put them in this podcast as an audiobook. That's the whole purpose of it. Check out 2pagesofmystery.com because it's a cool thing to do. And then on Friday, I've been looking forward to this episode of the FWAT show where I do not have to talk about the election. That was an edited version. There were words on the tip of my tongue that wanted to come out that were adjectives, but I did not use them. No, tune in Friday. It'll be fun.
It will be fun. And tune in next Sunday. Depending on the election results, we may or may not be on the air because we may or may not live in a free society. So thank you.
Thanks for listening.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for tonight.
Man, that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And like that, he's gone.
I said come back tomorrow!
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike, you know.
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
Hey, it's Flo, and this is my impression of a drill instructor directing a musical. 10 hot! Get those tap heels in line and let me see those jazz hands! Are you bundling your home and auto insurance through Progressive? Can you hear me through those sequins?
Bundle your home and auto through Progressive and save.
Left, 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 and step ball change.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Home insurance provided and serviced by other select insurers.